It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
And we are back here on another Wednesday. This is We Talk Sports Good. Randall and I here recharged after last week. And Randall, thank you for doing your civic duty as an American and your jury duty.
That was a horrible thing in my life, and I'd never like to ever do that ever again.
But welcome back. And
Thank you.
You got rewarded with a wild weekend, divisional round, the first weekend to have all the games end on the last play. But before we obviously jump into that, we got a big show, kind of lay it out. We'll obviously go through the divisional round and look ahead at the conference championship matchups. And then we are going to kind of spend a good chunk of the show here doing our far-fetched QBs to start the year for each team. So it will get a little wild. I don't know. Won't speak necessarily for you. There's some that I was making a little stretch on it happening, but have a little fun with it. You never know, crazier things could happen. So that's how we'll kind of roll through. But first and foremost, we do have to address Sean Payton has stepped away from the Saints. He has not retired, but he has stepped away and will not coach this year, but will leave the window open to coach again in the future.
Yeah, like you said, rewarded with a great weekend, and then stabbed in the heart the following Monday. Well, I guess that was yesterday, actually, so Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words, honestly. He means so much to the Saints fan base. And I know he knows, I mean, obviously I don't live there and I've never lived there, but I know for a fact he means a lot to the city of New Orleans in general, and the state of Louisiana. It's kind of weird because it's always been one of those things. For some reason, he always pops up in trade rumors for coaches. He always pops up in rumors about him retiring at the end of the season. Especially since Breeze was going downhill, everyone thought, they're going to retire at the same time, blah, 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 blah. And for it to finally actually happen is a shock and pretty devastating, actually. Literally, I've got to say, maybe an hour before the news dropped, me and our draft expert, Jacob Rooney, we're talking. He's a massive Saints fan, and we're talking about how devastating it would be if it actually happened. But of course it's not going to happen. He'll stay for 4 years. And then, obviously, that regrettable text about an hour later. So, it is what it is. Most likely the thought process for anyone who's an actual Saints fan and legitimately knows anything about the Saints, probably Dennis Allen will just go ahead and move into that head coach position. There's been a handful of times where Sean has been out past couple of seasons for COVID or whatever. And each time Dennis Allen stepped up in the interim head coach spot and did a great job. He did a really good job. So, most likely he'll be head coach. And that'll be fine. I'm fine with that. It'll be interesting to see where we go as an organization from here. But, I wish him the best. I hope that he's done coaching because I don't want him to coach for another team. I want his legacy to be with us. I don't want it to go anywhere else and have the possibility of getting tarnished in any way. So, I hope he spends time with his family and then maybe we see him in a press box later on as an announcer or something like that. So,
I mean, just for you to know, the Dallas media, radio, etc., has already fired it up that means it's one more year for Mike McCarthy, and then it's time to go get Sean Payton.
I don't know what Sean's contract is. It might be up after this season. I don't know.
They would still have to technically trade for him, but
yeah,
the
I know
fact
that,
that Jerry
if they didn't trade for him, there would definitely be some tampering going on.
Yeah, I mean, but there has been multiple rumors that, well, I think it was 2018, there was an offer on the table from the Cowboys for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, and yeah, there's obviously a lot of interest, I will say, coming from the Metroplex to try to go grab him.
I mean, look, if that was what happened, so be it. But it better be a hefty trade. I'll say that he deserves it.
That's fair. All right, well, we'll get away from it, and like you mentioned, a great weekend. So we'll rewind it so you can remember the good things that happened.
Oh yeah,
absolute insane weekend.
Oh man,
football. Just each game. I mean, I guess Sunday just felt like it just wanted to top, each other, and then Saturday was a very different but still very exciting games in a different way. Obviously, you have the first one up, Bengals and Titans. The most underdog one seed that you could probably find. With no one really believing that the Titans can make a run, but they did beat the teams they needed to beat to earn that one seed. They had Derrick Henry coming back, even though it was with a plate still in his foot. But you have Joe Burrow getting sacked 9 times, and the Bengals still coming out on top, and the Bengals defense coming up big with 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that was huge. Tannehill's so bad, man. Well, he's so bad.
You know what's funny is I was texting Cody, who has joined on our show before, another Saints fan, and I'll actually throw in his reaction when I said, what if Sean Payton goes to the Cowboys? He said he might never watch football again. He doesn't know if he could handle that.
That's rough.
Anyway, so it was before the A.J. Brown touchdown, and I said, and that was not looking good even worse for the Titans at that point. I said, I was like, what do you do as the Titans with Tannehill? Because that is as average of a quarterback as you can get. And, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. I mean, I guess you could, but everything has to be perfect around. And then, of course, he goes and throws a dime to A.J. Brown. And they're like, oh, you want to take that back? I was like, give me a little longer. I'll probably be back on the average train. And sure enough, did. I mean, Derrick Henry definitely looked like a running back that was still hurt. But, he's Derrick Henry, so I mean, you obviously let him take those carries. But I mean, the Titans, they redid their whole defense, did a great job. But just like, would they really ever get over the hump on, like, maybe they'll win a playoff game or 2? I don't know. I still have a hard time ever picking them to make a conference championship. And before even talking about the Bengals, obviously praising Bengals, just kind of looking on the Titans side, like, really realistically, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I really don't.
Because I have a very interesting, obviously I mentioned, QB play, and I think obviously we all know how important it is.
Yeah.
And I just really, because I did some digging on it, because I started to talk with Cody about it, and then really kind of started to think, and think about the QBs, the last 20, I wish I can find it, but I can probably still remember it, but the last 20 years, the only, not at their, at their peak, because, say what we want about Eli, he did have his peaks, but it's the, Joe Flacco had a run, he had a run where he stepped up his play, and then you kind of go back. The Bucks with that amazing defense though. Bucks with the Gruden-led one.
Oh, Brad
Johnson, yeah.
Brad Johnson,
but he had a Pro Bowl season that year.
Yeah, he did.
And then you go back farther. Really, you've got to go to the the Ravens with my boy Trent Dilfer, who
T Dilf.
Who threw 12 touchdowns and 11 picks on the season.
Yeah.
But that defense was historic, and they their whole playoff run, I think they didn't allow it was 20 to 30 points total in the whole playoffs.
Yeah, I think maybe an option for them, and this is not to take away from Tannehill's athleticism at all, but I think maybe finding a more just straight scrambler at quarterback. That way you can still lean into that running attack in because imagine that you replace the Ravens running backs with Derrick Henry, and how much more obviously there's no one else like Lamar in the league. That's probably a bad example, but how much more that rushing attack would just be absolutely murder if they had Derrick Henry too, because then it's pick your poison. So I think if they got someone that's more a dedicated runner, like a Jalen Hurts or something like that, maybe that would help a little bit. I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic on that team that you want to run the ball so much, but you know what? You know who would be perfect, and this is not, to me, this is not in any way I'm not showing my hand on who I'm putting the Titans for quarterback, because this is not what I have. But I feel like Matt Ryan would be the perfect choice for them. Okay. Someone who can make the throws when they need to, but you don't have to rely on them to carry the passing game the entire. The passing game isn't what wins the game, but Matt Ryan would make the throws when he needs to make the throws.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You're right. I could definitely see that working well, because that would be a step up on QB overall, just typical passing. I would say that is a step up.
And no offense to Tannehill as well, but quarterback IQ. Matt Ryan's quarterback IQ is high, very high. So I think that would help as well.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. I
don't know, just a couple of options, but I don't know. That team's got a weird dynamic for me.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So and then going back farther, the only guy in the '90s was when the football team with Mark Rypien, and they went 14-2, and he had a Pro Bowl year. But you look at the whole '90s; that's all elite quarterbacks too, for that era. Yeah. So it really does, elite quarterback play. It matters. So that's kind of why I bring that up. That was kind of my thought on that. And then you flip it to the other side though, and the Bengals are a year or two ahead here, making this kind of easily. Run. And you do the young core in the AFC with, obviously we've got Burrow and Mahomes playing this week, but we had Mahomes and Allen last week, and
Lamar,
Herbert, right? That's what I'm I know he didn't make it, but Herbert and Lamar was hurt. The AFC, I was saying to someone, is if you are Rodgers or Russell Wilson and you want to leave, do you really look at an AFC team? You're running through the young guns at this point. And if Brady retires, the NFC is up for grabs for a young quarterback, and not jumping ahead, but if the 49ers are right on Trey Lance, they might have a head start on people with how they've built their team.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to throw a wild prediction out for the Bengals. I've got one of these 3-year ones for you.
Okay.
Within 3 years, there will be a Super Bowl win for the Bengals.
I think that's not unreasonable at all.
It's not as crazy as my 49ers.
Honestly, if you would have told me that, if you would have made that prediction before the season even started, I wouldn't have been against it, because I thoroughly believe that they're obviously still some offensive line pieces away, right, and then I think some defensive pieces away. They're gonna have a rough summer though. They've got some free agents. They need to re-sign Jesse Bates. But yeah, I don't think that's out of the question at all.
Yeah, I wish I did my 49er prediction before the season with them. It would have lined up pretty well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just excited for the Bengals. We both had them as 9-8 team.
Yeah, we both had them just missing the playoffs.
So basically, we were only a win off on what they were. Granted, I think if you both, we both know that the Ravens are going to have injury problems, I think that might change it for me at least. on that thought. But yeah, I mean, excited on the AFC side, the young talent there, and then mentioning obviously kind of alluded to, you have the 49ers and Packers with the Frozen Tundra game, and everyone's saying the allure of Lambeau isn't really there anymore, and it's a 13-10 game. You don't get a touchdown pass out of Aaron Rodgers, and you don't get an offensive touchdown by the 49ers, but they hang it the whole time, and special teams win for the 49ers with the block punt touchdown and making their field goals / blocking Mason Crosby, who him and his holder just really hate each other, I bet.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, we were doing a little live putting monies on games here, and Rodgers really screwed us. Us here. I'll tell you what, though, I think what was really, really felt in this game was Bakhtiari being out, because they ended up shifting multiple pieces on their offensive line, and I think what they shifted to just did not work, especially against a defensive line that's so good in the pass rush and the 49ers, and Rodgers just was not able to do what he usually does, because he makes so many plays by extending the play out of the pocket, and they were collapsing on him. He, not necessarily the sacks were there, but I mean he was really getting collapsed on, and like could not escape out of that pocket, and was having to throw before his receivers are open, and it was rough for him, and they did a good job of shutting down Devontae after the first drive or two, I guess. So hats off to the Niners. I still think that Jimmy G's if they're gonna have a downfall, though, it's gonna be Jimmy G.
Right. I mean, he's overcoming the interception in a game is typically, I think I sent a stat to y'all a while ago, when it's an interception, it's like 2-6 or something.
Yeah,
but
he's
overcome it this time. I mean, I guess he didn't really. You're right. 11 for 19, 131, no touchdowns, 1 pick. It's not your usual way to win, but when you also have Deebo Samuel's doing everything from running to receiving to returning a kick for 45 yards, the ultimate weapon kind of helps.
Right. Yep.
I'm sorry, Kyle Shanahan. I should not doubt you ever. Apparently.
Yikes. Well, look, man. By the way, God, he looked miserable.
Yeah, you will not be getting him to Green Bay ever as a head coach.
No, he looked miserable. That looked horrible. That I was actually me and Thomas were on Discord during that game, and I just kept noting, I was like, dude, you could give me free tickets to this game, and me knowing it's a playoff game, and I'd still have second doubts about it. I'd be like, I don't know, man. It's snowing. It's sleeting and snowing. Was it in the negatives?
It wasn't negatives, but
it was 2 degrees or 3 degrees or something like that.
0 to 10 range for sure.
Yeah, I was like, nah, man. I think even if you gave me free tickets, I'd have to reconsider, because that's horrible. Yeah. Godspeed to everybody that was at that game, because in those types of conditions and COVID being around, Godspeed.
I went to years. It was I don't remember what year it was. It was the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth, where it was Pitt and Houston, and there was Houston had the biggest fourth quarter comeback. I believe Greg Ward was the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, nice.
It was 20s and sleeting, and it was an afternoon game, and I felt miserable. Luckily the car had heated seats, so me and a friend that went literally sat in the car for 20 minutes just thawing ourselves out, and that was a 2 o'clock, it was cold and sleeting game in Fort Worth. I had a night game in Green Bay that definitely feels worse. That was rough enough to stand through, because I couldn't sit because our seats were the bleachers, so you didn't want to.
Right. Ugh, that sounds horrible.
So I can only imagine that. And so, but anyway, also on your University of Texas former player, Kyle Shanahan, gets to win.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yes, sir. Hook 'em.
And then we turned to Sunday, where we had offensive explosion in
Yeah.
wild games where you have the never doubt on Brady, and the Rams deciding they don't want to hold on to the football.
Yeah, this Rams team is still just weird to me, man. It's so weird to me that this team, because, like, they've just gotten so lucky with injuries because they have no depth at all. Like, they have no depth. Like, once you get past these starters, their depth is horrendous. I am happy, even though K-Makers did not have a good game at all this game, I am glad to see he's back. The story that's so wild to me is Weddle playing.
Right? They just had a sign about
hadn't played since 2019, and they were like, "Hey man, we're having some injuries in the secondary a little bit. You in playing condition? Oh yeah, I'll be there." What? What? Okay. Who stays in the NFL playing condition 2 years after you're done playing? What is that? But yeah, wild. I mean, dude, all I can think of this game is Cooper Kupp's so good.
Yeah.
He is unreal. And also I am so happy for and I know you're going to understand because you are one. I'm so happy for the Lions fans.
Oh, yeah,
It's like vindication for you guys for all these years of you saying Matthew Stafford's like almost like he's in the top 15 quarterbacks. He might be in the top 10, and like everyone being like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah,
and
they're like, "Well, why couldn't he win you a playoff game?" Because
and it's like because there's no one else around him.
He got us the 2 playoffs is a miracle enough.
Like, because when we had Calvin Johnson, we had the worst defense in the league by a long shot.
You don't understand. He never had an offensive line. He carried the team every year and had 1 or 2 other good players. But someone like his Dallas obviously has been crapping on him. I've heard that a lot. Until then, they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess he never had a run game," and they like rattled off all his running backs, and you're like, yeah, he had 1,000-yard rusher, and that was like 1 year of Reggie Bush getting like 1,005, and he had a terrible yards per carry. Like they're like rattling off the yards per carry as starting running backs, and they're all like,
Reggie Bush played for y'all.
3.2, 3.5 is starting running backs were Marshawn or not. What's the Lattimore? I don't know if I'm gonna blank on his first name. Joik Bell.
Oh, Marcus Lattimore?
Yeah.
No.
They're not Mark. That's what. It's not Mark. It's the one that played at Illinois running back. Anyways, but yeah, it's like Joik Bell and Amir Abdullah, and it's like, oh yeah, the one good year of carry on, but he got hurt, so then he was never good again. Like he never Theo Riddick, which was just for receiving. Yeah, like no running game ever. Yeah, exactly. There's never a running game, so like he carried the team. So just getting to the playoffs is a miracle enough. Like you're right. He couldn't.
Bad.
Yeah, and you couldn't get over the top, of course, because the team was terrible. So like just getting there, like you're right. You give him some weapons, he'll figure it out. Him and Cooper, historic year for Cooper Kupp, and you give him Odell, and like their connection, Odell and him are on the same page like right away.
Oh yeah, it works. It works for sure. That wide receiver core is it's stupid, really. Between Kupp, Woods, him, Van Jefferson, like that wide receiver, it's wild. But yeah, and then I mean, once Cam Akers actually comes back in full force next year, oh boy, like that's gonna be wild.
But on the flip side, I do want to just say, like, and also with all the quotes that have kind of come out after, like, yes, I mean, obviously, can't doubt Brady almost changed the game still because he is the GOAT, and if you don't agree with that, I don't know how you can at this point. You don't have to like him, but if you don't believe that, I don't know what you're watching. But I don't know with how, like, it was a different of, like, he didn't obviously, like the Patriots one where he threw the pick against the Titans and it was over, like, he didn't. He did what he had to do, but then the Rams got themselves in the field goal range on the Kupp play, but like he didn't seem so like angry playoff loss Brady. He kind of seemed to, hey, I did it. I won with won without the Patriots, won without Bill. we had our chance. We were able to re-sign all our guys one time because I know that's all that's going to happen. They aren't keeping all 22 starters again. That was a one-time thing. You know that's it. So hey, let's just run it back with the team that won it all. Didn't work. He played at an MVP level. He shown everything he's got to, and he can still go out not looking like, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. No offense. I mean, they both went out rough. Like, he can go out knowing that he could play another year, but he's not going to, he went out playing at he's going to be a top 3 in MVP votes, won a Super Bowl, still almost, could have done it this year. Like, why not go out now? There's nothing else to prove.
Right.
Now it will go get paid. Hey, we won a Super Bowl. We ran it back. Didn't work. Thanks to the hard work. No, hey, everyone go get paid somewhere. I'm going to go chill.
Yeah, did he not, did his demeanor after the game ended tip it to you too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he wasn't angry. A playoff loss Brady would have been, at the cup play, he would have been like pissed off on the sidelines.
Yeah, he seemed real content, and not content because obviously he wanted to win, but like it was like a quick acceptance, like, hey, it is what it is. I personally have done that to many a team in the playoffs. Like, I've done, I'm the GOAT.
Yeah.
There's nothing left for me to chase. Joe Montana is not even in the conversation at this point anymore. No. Like, it's over.
That's what I mean. Like,
I'm the best.
I could have maybe done back-to-back, and I didn't. Okay,
yeah,
hey, but you don't go out leaving that an opportunity.
Well, and the only one he's chasing anymore is Jordan. I mean, he's chasing Jordan. He's chasing Jordan. He's chasing Gretzky. He's chasing Tiger Woods. Like, he's chasing the people outside of his sport to be considered the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah.
But, like, and that's something that no one can agree on ever anyway, so what's the point?
Right.
I don't know. There's nothing left for him to do. Just go. Your kids are about to get in high school if they're not already in high school. They're probably going to play sports. Like, his wife has clearly been pushing him to leave football for many years now.
Right.
Like, there's nothing left to prove, man.
That's why I really think he's done. I think that was it. I think it was hey, we got one chance. We could return all the, like I said, we can return every starter. Can we go back to back? If we don't, hey, we gave it a shot.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We've already done what we could.
And and like, I do agree with you. They're going to have some problems this offseason. I don't think Godwin's coming back. A lot of their offensive line, a lot of their defense. I think Gronk's 100.
And Barnett are both free agents, aren't they?
And Sue.
Yeah. Yeah. Why? Nah, you're past that, man. You don't need to do that.
No, yeah. And, Gronk's going to retire, most likely, I would think. I mean, God, he needs to. Look at his, oh, man. But, there's nothing, and Leonard Fournette. I don't know if we mentioned him. He's a free agent, too. Like, there's nothing left for you here, man. It's fine. Like, just right off into the sunset, brother. We all respect what you've done. Everyone who even I hate you, man. I hate Tom Brady. But I respect everything he's done. And it got to, there's a lot of guys you watch them, and I've turned this corner with LeBron too, where, like, I've hated LeBron a long time, but now it's like he's done so much that you're just sitting there in awe watching him. Because it's like, I can't believe this is the thing that you hear your parents and your grandparents talk about in the sports world, that like seeing Ali fight and stuff like that you're just like, we're never going to see anyone, but we are. We're seeing the best of all time with Brady, and it's just like, at this point, I'm like, you have nothing left to prove to anyone. Like, if there's anyone that genuinely hates on you now, they don't love the game of football, because honestly, how can you hate what he's done? Really, like, it's incredible.
I mean, I guess the Super Bowl appearances is like, Mahomes has, I feel like, the only shot at that. The 10 Super Bowl appearances. I don't know if anyone can have the appearances. Like, the next up is Elway at 5.
Yeah.
No one's even close after that. So, like, I don't even know if we're going to see the 10. Like I said, Mahomes is your only shot, but like also with him losing to Brady, like he's lost to Brady in the playoffs twice, and he didn't even get like his own ring over Brady. So like, at what point he's got to pretty much just win more Super Bowls then.
Yeah,
and that's the only chance. He's got to win more Super Bowls than Brady because he didn't ever beat him. You can't have the same amount because he beat you in the AFC Championship and then beat you next year in the Super Bowl. So like, yeah, you can't have that title over him unless you have more overall, which is insane to think that could happen. Because there's still, as good as the Chiefs are, there's still too much young talent.
Yeah. Yep.
So, well, we're right at 30, so I think we'll hit the break here. And now on the other side, since that next game is a lot to unpack, we'll hit the Bills-Chiefs after the break and then jump into our wild QB predictions. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12 Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120OZ and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Back here on the other side, and as mentioned, we are finishing it off with the Chiefs win over the Bills in overtime. And if I'm correct, it was the 28 points in the last 2 minutes and 33 seconds of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, starting in 1:54, and then another field goal.
Jeez.
Yeah. Gabriel Davis, 27-yard touchdown catch at 1:54. 5 plays later, Tyreek Hill, 64-yard touchdown pass with 1:02 left. Gabriel Davis, 6 plays later, 19-yard touchdown pass with 13 seconds. And then 13 seconds later, a field goal to tie.
So 25. Yeah, I kind of won too many field goals. But still, 25 points in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's insane because, like, I would have said that we had witnessed the best divisional round, possibly the best divisional round of all time before this game.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't know about you, trying to think back, this is the best playoff game I've ever seen.
I still can't think of one.
I mean, obviously, recency bias is alive and well.
And you're not talking Super Bowls though. You're just talking best playoff game leading up to it, right?
Yeah, best. I mean, was there? Well,
I mean, the Falcons.
I was saying Pats. I mean, Patriots and Falcons.
Patriots Seahawks was pretty good.
yeah. Patriots Seahawks was pretty good.
I'm just thinking outside the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think so. Best non-Super Bowl playoff game was definitely again, recency bias, but like off the top of my head, it's the best one I've ever seen. So, but yeah, man, you feel for Josh Allen because he's, they both played so well. 27 for 37, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns for Josh Allen, plus 68 yards rushing. Then Mahomes, 33 for 44, 378, 3 touchdowns, and 69 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown.
Nice.
Giggity. Maturity. But, I mean, it's unreal what they both did. And it's a shame. I mean, I know this has been talked about for a whole week now, but, like, it's a shame that the overtime rules are what they are and that's how. Because it really, I mean, everyone knew it was going to come down to a coin flip. Neither one of these defenses, whoever won that coin flip won the game. Because neither one of these defenses were stopping anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't stopping Josh Allen.
No. I mean, and I get on the, well, defense has to. And then, like, also, like, the Bills let up points with 13 seconds left. Like, of course, like, should you have squibbed it, you know? But you also, it's 13 seconds. Should you really be playing that far prevent deep? You know, but still, like, it is hard to see a game end like that. You're right. Oh, but then it's well, then the Bills would have scored and the Chiefs would have scored. Then fine, but it's hard to say every team's overtime. You know, NBA. You know, it's not just one team gets an offensive possession. Baseball, you still play the top and the bottom of the inning. You know,
right.
Hockey, it's to the goal, but both teams are getting a shot. You know, a shot to do it. They're not one team once again on offense. You know, there's no other sport just lets one team get one crack at it and could end it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking. So I'm on ESPN with the GameCast up, and I'm looking at the win probability in the last 2 minutes. Just it looks like the worst EKG that someone's about to die on ever. Like, it's so bad. It's literally like looking like an EKG and then flatlining. It's, oh man. But yeah, I'm curious. I actually saw these a potential potential replacement for overtime rules that I found interesting, and I wanted to throw to you and see what you thought.
Okay.
So, basically, the team wins. Chiefs win the coin flip, right? They get ball. They score in 8 plays. The Bills get the ball back. They have a kickoff. They have 8 plays to score a touchdown as well. And if they get it, then game keeps playing. If they don't, game over.
Interesting.
So basically, let's say Josh Allen scores a touchdown in 7 plays. Okay, game keeps playing. Bills get the ball back. So, because then it would flip. The Chiefs got first choice there. They score. Now Bills get the ball back, okay? So Bills get the ball back. They try to score. If they score, then Chiefs have to match the plays or less. And basically just keeps going back and forth from there.
Interesting. Potentially. I mean, I'm obviously, I'm for a college style, but
college, yeah. I want to start at 50 though instead.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. Start it at the 50 though, because NFL kickers' range is great, but if you only get 1 first down, you have to kick a 50-yard field goal. That kind of sucks. But I like the 50. Go for it. Do college style. More points, better. Yeah, that's what I would kind of prefer. 50-yard line. Hey, half the field. Let's go. Funny idea I saw. Obviously not realistic. Is both teams start at the 50. Both their offense and defenses are on the field, and whoever scores first wins.
Both their offenses and
both teams' offenses and defense
back on the 50.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
I think they said like 45, and they're basically you've got whoever scores first wins.
How about a tug of war? Have you ever seen tug of war on Madden?
Yeah.
Where like basically you start on the 50. If the Chiefs win the coin toss, they run a play wherever it stops. Then the Bills offense comes on the field and they have to play from there.
Yeah.
And like basically wherever the ball gets stopped is where it stops, and like you just have to score a touchdown from there.
Yeah.
No field goals, gotta score a tutty.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. I'm for it.
Gosh. But no, I mean, just what a game. There's nothing else to say about it.
I mean, that's what I mean. That's what I was going to say. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, it's an amazing game. You could just keep going on about how amazing of a game it is, but
yeah. The one thing I definitely want to point out, though, is just the... I mean, I know we talk about how fast Tyreek Hill is all the time, but, like, a specific play that stood out to me that, like, no one... I haven't seen a single person talk about it because he probably does it all the time, and I know he does it all the time, but it was a double reverse to him, and he was legitimately, like, 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still made it back to the line of scrimmage with, like, people all over him. And he's so fast. And then the audacity and the pure nerve and knowledge that you're so much faster than someone to piece them out
when they have
while they're ahead of you.
They have the angle, and you know you're still faster.
Yeah, they have that angle, and they're ahead of you, and you still, like, know you're going to outrun them.
John Mara is probably so pissed off that wasn't a taunting flag.
Oh, right. Goodness.
Yeah, no, I was going to point that out, and then the last thing I was going to point out before moving on was shout out Gabriel Davis. 8 receptions, wow. 201, and 4 touchdowns. Yeah,
I don't know what his contract status is leading into this offseason, but...
he's still definitely got another year, because he's only 2 years in on his rookie deal.
Oh, wow, okay. Wow.
I mean, I know fourth-rounders don't have, like, a long, but still, 2 years in on a rookie. He's got to at least have another year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I think it's time to flip over here for this last 20-ish minutes to our wild QB predictions for next year.
I don't think this is going to happen.
There's some definite wild ones.
There's a few that I think are going to happen.
No, I mean, to be fair, there are some that I definitely could see. So, let's just, I mean, I have it, this is how I started, so let's just kick it off with the NFC North. I'll just rattle off my 4 and I'll let you go. And then we'll flip. So, Bears, it's Justin Fields. I think, spoiler for future, it's Jordan Love time. I thought, I mean, I've said this before, I thought it was the last dance, I thought it was over. Packers are getting blown up. Vikings are, this one was, I had almost moved Cousins over around, I couldn't find where it worked. So, he will stay, but they're going to draft in the second round Desmond Ridder. And then my Lions will still have Goff. And I'm not necessarily sold on this, but I have a feeling this is a high potential, that second first round pick from the Rams being Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, okay.
I'm not sure how I still feel about him. I have been so back and forth, but I think I could see it being the pick. Okay.
Fair enough. So you'll have some questions for me, I'm sure, and I'll answer them.
Okay.
First, the obvious, the most obvious is easily the Bears. Like, they're not going to give up on Fields. So, Fields, Bears. Lions, I'm keeping y'all with Goff. I imagine y'all are going to draft someone. I didn't go into who I think y'all might draft, but I had Howell in my mind. I just couldn't remember what exactly, like, y'all's second-round pick looked like. So, Packers, I also have Jordan Love. I have Rodgers on the move. And this is the fun one. Vikings. I have Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, okay.
I got Tua. There's going to be a little trade skis.
All right.
And we'll get into that later. Unless you have questions now, I can answer questions now. But, we'll tease a little bit.
We'll tease. I'll wait till, obviously, we continue on to that talk. Well, I just have it still going through the NFC, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
So I'll let you start with NFC South.
Okay. All right. So
I've got a wild NFC South. I have no one the same.
I also have no one the same in the NFC South. So I'll start with my Saints. We make a blockbuster trade for Russell Wilson and appease all the Saints fans that have been talking about that.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen, but it is fun to think. I think Michael Thomas is in that trade. I think there's probably a draft pick in that trade. Or 2. Or 3. Multiple. But I think we do make a trade there. And get Russell Wilson. So then the next question obviously leads to, well, where does Jameis Winston go? Well, I'll tell you where Jameis Winston goes. Right back to freaking Tampa Bay. Oh. Because, yes, sir. Because Tom Brady retires. There's not that bad of hard feelings there. It's a familiar thing. It's not a long-term thing, but they bring Jameis and Winston back for a couple of seasons. Next is the Panthers, just because, we all know that they have a problem. I think it's real simple for them. I think they draft Matt Corral, and I think he starts week 1 just because there's literally no other options for them. You're going to have questions here. The Falcons' starting quarterback for week 1 is Andy Dalton.
Is there a rookie drafted as well?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
They're going to tank.
Okay.
They're going to tank. They get rid of Matt Ryan in a trade, and Andy Dalton's a free agent. He's not the worst quarterback in the world that's left on the board. They take a shot, and they take Andy Dalton.
Okay. Well, as well as mentioned, I guess I should say I have a half a player to sing.
Okay.
So I'll start with that. I have Jameis staying with the Saints. However, the Saints will be making a trade up in the draft to take Kenny Pickett. And they will keep Winston on board.
Oh, but does Winston start week 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Fair. I'm like, they're drafting Kenny Pickett. I've got to combine.
How high are we trading up? Do you
not
know?
Very high. I'm not going too much higher. 10 to 12.
Are we
range.
in the top 10?
10 to 10. 10 to 12. I think you guys might trade up to like Viking spot.
Not
a lot. Not a lot.
I'd do that. I'd be okay with that.
The Bucks, obviously Tampa Bay needing a Brady retirement as alluded in my head. Free agent Marcus Mariota.
I like it. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
If they do think they want to work with Kyle Trask, I don't think he's ready still. So why not go pull the trigger on Mariota? He can play conservative enough in that offense, make it work. I still think he's got a little flash to be a good little bridge quarterback. Matt Ryan will be traded, but the Falcons will be drafting Matt Corral.
Ooh, what's their pick right now?
That's a great question. I don't remember exactly where, but
they trade up high enough to get Corral, basically?
Yeah.
Okay, whoever they trade Matt Ryan to, that's a pick that they get.
The blockbuster trade from the Panthers will be going and getting Mr. Deshaun Watson.
Whoa, you think he starts week 1 next year?
And with that, they will sign a released Carson Wentz.
Is Carson Wentz a free agent?
Released. I'm just saying the Colts are just cutting ties with him.
Okay.
As we will.
I have a similar situation for that.
We will see later. So, so I'm going to roll into NFC East here real quick because I actually have it kind of pretty similar. This one's actually probably the most stable. Dak, Cowboys, Hurts, Eagles. Giants are in a terrible cap space. I almost went Russell Wilson here until I realized how bad of a cap situation, and the new GM just put a vote of confidence out too for Daniel Jones, so I think they'll try one more year with him. And then the football team will be starting. Now, they will draft the quarterback. Let me say that. They will sign the free agent quarterback week 1 starter, Mitch Trubisky, and be drafting Malik Willis.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So, your NFC East?
My NFC East. Let's see. Let me grab that one. All right. So, obviously, Cowboys, Dak Prescott. Eagles, I'm going to let them stay with Jalen Hurts. Washington, I have them getting Kenny Pickett, and I think he starts week 1.
Okay.
So I have Kenny Pickett starting week 1. And Giants, I bet you were wondering, hey, where'd that Matt Ryan guy go?
Oh, okay.
To the Giants with a serviceable wide receiver core. I think their defense is underrated. I think they're a not horrible defense. I think Matt Ryan could potentially make them a playoff team.
Okay.
So they'll need to work on the O-line. They'll need to work on the offensive line. But I think he could make them a serviceable team.
Okay. NFC
a
West.
team that gets beat in the wild card game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, NFC West, I'm going to let you go because I've got one that will really probably throw some stuff off.
Let's see, where are we NFC West?
NFC West. I've got one that's going to kind of allude to another one, so I'll let you go first.
Gotcha. Okay, so Cards, I'll start with Kyler Murray,
Yep.
Obviously. Rams, they're going to stick with Stafford. So Seahawks, I obviously traded Russell Wilson to the Saints, which left them at a hole at quarterback, and I agree with you. I believe Marcus Mariota is a great quarterback to sign this offseason. He's had some flashes in Oakland when he's gotten a chance. We'll take Marcus Mariota for the Seahawks. I actually think that's a good fit for them. And then the Niners, Trey Lance. I'm going to have Trey Lance. Jimmy G is out of the picture.
All right. I, as well as Jimmy G, out of the picture. It will be Trey Lance, Stafford Rams, Cardinals Kyler. And this obviously is a wild prediction, and this also goes for another team. What they end up doing hiring-wise could make shifts. So the Seahawks, by default of trade, will be having Derek Carr start.
Wait, say that all again?
The Seahawks will have Derek Carr.
I won't ask questions. I'll see where that goes, but okay. All right.
So the flip to the AFC West, I will just go first since that's obviously leading questions. There's the two obvious: Mahomes, Chiefs, Herbert, Chargers. Sierra really wants to have some Vegas shows, so Russell Wilson is going to get his way to Vegas, baby. Mr. Unlimited. All the time in the Vegas lights. Now, it depends on the coaching hire. If they keep where they're at, then this would never happen. But if they go out of the wall, grab like Harbaugh or someone flashy name, I think they go and try to make a flashy splash too.
Okay.
So it's very dependent on how the head coaching search would go too, because I don't think Bisaccia would be on board with trading Carr.
Right.
But if they go in another direction, I feel like Russell Wilson is going to be also dictated by where Sierra wants to go, because they want to go big market. So why not go Vegas? I don't think he honestly at this point. I'm kind of wondering how much Super Bowl other than, hey, let's go to a big city and make flashy, name for myself.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the obvious, which I don't know if this is where you're going to, but I've heard the rumors that OC Pickett Hackett, of the Packers could be getting the Broncos head coaching job, and Aaron Rodgers and his girlfriend wife sure love Denver, so they're heading on out there to the Rocky Mountains, pulling up Peyton Manning, joining the Broncos.
Okay.
That division if that happened though,
right?
It'd be an insane Mahomes, Herbert, Russell Wilson, Rodgers all in a division.
Wait, say it all again?
You would have Mahomes, Herbert, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers all in one division.
That's insanity.
Which is wild. That's why I realize this is extremely highly unlikely.
That's fair.
Trying to find Russell Wilson that flashy spot, and the Giants have no cap space, so that's why I rolled that out from New York.
Fair enough. Well, in that case, with my AFC West, pretty similar. Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, but I'll keep Carr. Yeah. I have Rodgers going to the Broncos as well.
Okay.
I think it's a good fit for him because they have weapons. They have incredible wide receiver core. They've got a good young running back. They've got a good tight end. Their offensive line still needs a little bit of work. The defense is not as great as it used to be, but it's still a serviceable defense.
Yeah.
I think that is a perfect place for him to go. I really do.
Yeah.
If he doesn't head to San Fran, I think that's the perfect place for him.
Yeah. I'll let you take what division do you want next? I'll let you take it where you want.
I want to save one for last.
Which one do you want to save last then?
Because the last one that's kind of crazy for me is the only one that's pretty much all my most crazy stuff was in the NFC. Let's save AFC South for the last.
All right, then have the East.
Have the East,
There's
okay.
a chance that we might be answering this to a trade?
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. So AFC, obviously, Bills, Josh Allen, obviously Pats are keeping Mac Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess I can throw out that I obviously have the same for Jets, Pats, Bills.
Yeah, and then I was going to say Jets have Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So Dolphins, honestly, I think it was pretty much a straight-up trade. I think there's probably a little bit more compensation on the I guess the Dolphins side.
Yeah, trading
I
the
don't know.
younger guy.
It might just be a straight up trade. It might be a 1-for-1 trade.
Okay.
Because Kirk, I think, is a better player right now than Tua. And I think they've got Dolphins have obviously this is not a good comparison because I think he's so much better than Kirk Cousins. So much better. But this is in their eyes, this is a Stafford-like trade where they think that he's just enough better than what they have that this could be the difference. Because they were a fringe playoff team, right? This is the difference in them being that playoff team is having a quarterback that can make some of the throws that Tua necessarily can't make. So I think Kirk Cousins would be week 1 starter for them.
Gotcha. Well, actually, I didn't realize my AFC East actually stayed the same. It's Allen, Bills, Jones, Pats, Tua, Dolphins. I did not move, and Wilson, Jets. Yeah, so I kept the same there. Well, then to keep the AFC South last, we'll go to the North, and I have 3, obviously, with Big Ben retiring. Assuming we both have Burrow, Bengals, Baker, Browns, Lamar, Ravens, unless you're going something wild with the Browns.
No, I thought about trying to make a Baker trade, but I left it as it was.
I almost did a Baker for Kirk Cousins. I will say that. I almost did that.
That'd have been interesting.
I'm curious on that, though, because I feel like that actually could work because the Vikings, with having Justin Jefferson and Thielen, want to have someone that's willing to take more shots. Not saying Kirk Cousins doesn't. He does throw downfield. But with Stefanski knowing Cousins would be the more used to that offense and stay within the offense kind of thing. So I almost did it, but I didn't. So really the difference is the Steelers there. I have a feeling we might be the same on this. I have Jimmy G landing here in the Steelers.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
So I have the Steelers going with a free agent, Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
I think they take Teddy B and play their cards for this season and then maybe hope to get in the quarterback game in the next draft.
Okay.
Or maybe they draft Ritter or something like that down the a little bit lower, but I think they're really playing their hand for the next season.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think I'd like Teddy B with the Steelers.
Yeah, I could see that working.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then to the AFC South.
I gotta tell you, I almost put Teddy B back in New Orleans. I almost had him as a week 1 starter. Yeah, I thought about it.
I could kind of see that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Well,
if we didn't go with Winston.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just first say I'm assuming we both have Lawrence still with the Jags.
Yep.
So this is where we're definitely going to be different.
And that's it. That's where I'm. That's the last thing. That's the only thing that I have.
Well, let's just go team by team then, since this is probably going to be the craziest one. Obviously I made the Texans have a trade, so I have them going all in on Mills Mafia.
Okay, so he's not the week 1 starter for me.
Okay.
I think they take a shot on a cut. He gets cut from their team. Carson Wentz.
Okay.
So I think they take a shot on Carson Wentz.
So we both have Wentz getting cut and then landed somewhere else.
Yep, I think he gets cut and ends up with the Texans, and that doesn't work out, and Davis Mills eventually becomes a starter and does pretty well. But yeah, I think Carson Wentz is week 1.
Okay.
So,
I think you alluded you might have a different here. I do still have Tannehill staying on the Titans.
I do not. So the Titans is where I have Jimmy G landing.
Oh, okay. So is Tannehill still on the Titans?
I went back and forth with that. I think he is. He is, and they let Jimmy G try week 1.
Okay. QB battle, but not completely determined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I could see that. Colts. We both have, obviously, Carson Wentz getting cut, so we have some differences here. I have a trade that never got resolved. Or as we saw, one team draft a QB and I did not say where he went. Mr. Matt Ryan will step into the Colts.
Ooh.
A fringe playoff team and get
that's a fringe Super Bowl
quarterback
team for
with
me.
experience. With that team could work very well. I think that could be
I'm just going to let you know, if that happened, I would sneaky pick them as the
Okay.
Super Bowl champs that
I
offseason.
really liked that when I was like, this could work.
I would pick them as the Super Bowl champs.
And then I have them, just throwing this out there, because obviously I have Matt Ryan as the Week 1 starter. They realize this is only going to be for a year or two. They will draft in the second round Carson Strong from Nevada.
I like that. I like that.
The Colts,
I
I like this Colts setup if this works out.
I do too, dude. I would sneaky. It'd be like a, obviously it'd be a headline play for me to do that. But like, I think I'd pick Colts to win it all if that actually happened.
So where are you going with the Colts then if you have Wentz getting cut?
So, I think they draft Malik Willis,
Okay.
but he doesn't start week 1.
All right.
They go to the free agency, and they pull out a little bit of magic in Ryan Fitzmagic, week 1 starter, baby.
Of course. He's got to go somewhere. How did I forget
It tracks, doesn't it?
It
tracks.
It does.
It tracks. I almost said Sam Ellinger week 1 just to have a little bit of fun, but I was like, it's also fun? A little bit of magic. A little bit of magic show. Fitzmagic.
There you go. Wild QB predictions for week 1 next
None of that I
year.
think's gonna happen.
So we'll see how small of a percentage we hit on that as the season comes along. But yeah, thanks for following us here. It will be a recap of championship week next Wednesday. That means in 2 weeks we have the ultimate Super Bowl breakdown.
Ooh, that's a good show.
By position group. So
Good
that's
show.
2 weeks away. We'll recap conference championship and probably sprinkle some other sports news in because we will leave the Super Bowl preview of Super Bowl preview shows for 2 weeks. So follow us on Twitter. We talk sports good. We will be back next Wednesday and have a great rest of your night.
Uh-huh.